Alrighty, so let's try and do this again with a bit of a jacket on, so I can stay nice and warm, keep focused. Alright, so now we're going to be talking about Tokusatsu. Tokusatsu is one of the many forms of media that I'm going to be covering in this series, just to let everyone know where I am come the 1st of January 2017, and so I can use this as a little bit of a marker, so when I look back in history, I can be like, hey, that's where I was at this particular time. And we're going to be talking about Tokusatsu. So Tokusatsu is one of those forms of media that I'm least knowledgeable about, but I'm extremely enthusiastic. Most of my knowledge about Tokusatsu, and for this I'm going to sort of shorten it down, because some people include kaiju into this into the mix, and you can, and there's nothing wrong with that, but specifically I'm not going to be talking about the kaiju like your Godzillas and your Gamoras, but we're going to be talking about like Ultraman and the Kamen Rider and the Super Sentai kind of people. The Tokusatsu, and one of the reasons I really love it is just how over the top it is, much in the same vein of professional wrestling, where everything's larger than life, and you can either view it as like silly, or you can just have fun and run with it. That's how I feel about Tokusatsu. Kamen Rider was pretty much where Kamen Rider is my favorite of all Tokusatsu, but my earliest origins into the genre and foray into this form of medium actually came through in the Western Power Rangers, which was an adaptation of the Super Sentai series. All they'll do is they would incorporate that with some little Western actors, and they would incorporate some new storylines and try and make it different. So they did a different enough job so that Power Rangers is still very much its own thing, but yeah, it definitely has its roots deeply intertwined with the Super Sentai series. And at the same time, I remember when I was younger, it would have the Beetleborgs on television, or the VR Troopers, and those were always, once again, someone that like myself, who really loves the larger-than-life kind of aspects and finds those things really humorous. Yeah, it's a lot of great fun to get into. So when I was older, I was just like, I love the Power Rangers, by the way. And I was just, wondering, how can I go about and buy it? Because for the longest time in Australia, you weren't able to actually buy Power Rangers stuff. Like, you won't be able to buy the earliest seasons of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It just wasn't available. And so I had to look elsewhere. And I came across Kamen Rider, and I had been hooked ever since. My favorite of... now, I've seen a lot of, like, Tokusatsu. So if I mention, like, the Metal Heroes, or if I go, like, Android Kakaida, or even, I'm trying to think of someone that might, Kaikatsu Zubat. He's a little known one, but I love all of those. I would still say that I'm not as knowledgeable as many people about it, and if I was to use, I've been using in these series like a 1 to 10 sort of scale to show people how knowledgeable I feel I am. And when it comes to the knowledgeability about Tokusatsu, I honestly feel like it's only like a 3, maybe, because there's so much out there that I haven't even got to. Like, I mean, I've seen all of Ultra Q and Ultraman, but apart from that, I mean, when it comes to Kamen Rider, even, I haven't even finished all of those ones. I've only gotten up to Agito, and my favorite Tokusatsu of all time, by the way, not including the Power Rangers and all that sort of stuff, but my favorite Tokusatsu is Kamen Rider Black, or Kamen Rider the original, but those are definitely my favorites. But I feel like I know almost nothing aside from those ones. Like, I'm always trying to research more, and it's very difficult to try and keep up with most of the Kamen Rider stuff these days. I know that Ghost was airing, and I saw a couple of episodes, but I'm trying to watch all of the previous stuff and the previous series first, so it might even take a while to get there. But when it comes to the whole medium, I've still got a long way to go. Like, I've got a long way to go with the Super Sentai series, the Metal Heroes. I know that there was a couple of extra seasons of Android Kakaida that I hadn't seen, but yeah, I've really got to focus on those ones, and even some of the most obscure ones. Like, I would love to find some way, and I've been looking at ways to purchase, because I've only seen a few episodes of the Moonlight Mask or Moonlight Carmen, but if I could find some way to buy an official release of that, then that would be really cool, and I'd be more than happy to jump on board. I own a whole bunch of Ultraman from official releases, but the problem is like they're not subtitled because the only way you can buy them in this official capacity is if you buy them from Japan, and I I've done it before with other things, but I don't really like sit there and pause every 3 seconds and try and use my like because I don't even have it anymore. But I used to have like an English to Japanese dictionary or a Japanese to English and vice versa, and I'd be like, oh, I think he said this and blah blah blah, and then my translation would be horribly off. I had to do that with some anime, but it's just not fun and it takes you out of the experience. So from 2017, so January 1st, 2017 onwards, my goals with Tokusatsu would be, I would love to finish and catch up on Kamen Rider. I would love to be able to, going forward, have seen all of it. And I would love to have found some way to go back and watch all of Moonlight Mask if I can. And just check out some of the newer stuff. Like, Garo is pretty cool, but I haven't seen a whole full season of it yet. I've just seen a couple of episodes. And there's so much Garo out there, and I hear it's really good. I just, yeah, haven't got around to seeing it. So going forward, I'd love to check out those. And if there is anything else that gives me that cool feeling, like, I'm not even sure if I should include the Power Rangers film in this, because I know that in 2017 there's going to be that Power Rangers film. For all intents and purposes, and future references to the channel that I will probably talk about, when I talk about Power Rangers or something that might be Western orientated, I'll also include that under the Tokusatsu genre, because that is pretty much, if you were to check the genetics of the Tokusatsu family tree, you could be like, Power Rangers is here. It definitely has its roots there. So, yeah, going forward, I would love to become more and more knowledgeable about this, and I'm actually really excited to do this, because it's super fun to just sit down and watch, and yeah, I can't wait. So thank you guys for listening to this. This is one of the ones that it's actually kind of woken me up, because I was like, awesome. I got it. Well, you know, the drink actually helps as well, but I was like super excited to talk about this. But yeah, I hope I can learn more. Catch you guys later.